What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the overall market thus far and talk about some very new developments. What you should be watching for as time progresses as these charts move on. But before I break into detail all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit $500 into the account, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them, and the offer ends very soon in just about 6 days. Anyways, for the market, as you can see, we're kind of range bound right here on Tesla. Tesla has a lot of buyers trying to defend it at this 158 area. And we're starting to see a lot of rejections as we get closer to this 165 zone. So far, we're range bound on Tesla and also on SPY, but we do have some new developments I want to talk about. Before I do that, let me just mention that there's been a lot of talk about the things Elon Musk was saying by the media. The media keeps on kind of repeating a lot of the things that were said during the earnings call. And Musk did say some important things, such as the fact that Tesla's not just a car company, it's so much more than that. I do agree with his point, and this is making a lot of headlines, so I just wanted to briefly mention this. I personally think that Tesla is more than just a car company. They're developing AI, and like Elon Musk said, they're putting the auto in automobiles. So they're making a lot of important developments, but that does not change the fact that Tesla still has lots and lots of obstacles in their way. You can't ignore the fact that they missed on earnings. You can't ignore the fact that we're seeing slowing demand in the EV sector, and they just cut all their prices for almost all of their models in the US just a couple of days ago. So there's still hardships that Tesla has to go through. Even though their future is very bright, I just want to at least acknowledge that. I think it's very important to do so. And despite that, I'm still a big bull, at least for the long term. And I do agree with a lot of the points that Musk and others ended up making. So, what does this mean for Tesla moving forward? Honestly, guys, I'm not going to worry too much about what's going to happen for the next week. I just want to focus on right now. And I think that that's what I'm going to do in this video. I will talk more about like longer term projections maybe in another video. But right now, let me just say that Tesla is range bound right now. We're stuck within this range. Basically, we kind of broke past 158. We pushed to 165 rejected. 158 again, bounced. We came close to 164 rejected. It's been going back and forth and back and forth. So we have resistance at 162.5. We also have resistance at 164 to 165. Every time we've been hitting this 165 zone, we tend to get rejected. Besides this one instance where we got this quick liquidity grab where we pushed and dropped. And then, despite that, as Tesla dipped, we actually got bought up very close to 158, maybe not exactly, but very close to it. And you guys could see how it's just stuck within this range. So we're going to be watching to see which way this breaks. Can Tesla try to break and hold above 165 and start pushing higher? Or are we about to get a big rug pull and lose 158 and start sinking to the 155 area? Honestly, guys, I'm just going to be a very patient trader and wait for this one. I think it's very critical to do so. And I can also say some very, very similar things about other stocks I want to show you. We have Meta's earnings after the market closes. I'll be talking about that. That could affect Tesla and the overall market to some extent. I would say that it would affect like the QQQ and the Nasdaq a lot more than Tesla. But once again, if the QQQ and the SPY start making a big move because of it, this could affect Tesla to some extent. And we'll just watch and see which way this breaks. That's all we're seeing for now for Tesla. For SPY, I noticed something very different. So SPY actually has an uptrend right here. We've been uptrending for the last 3 days, and you guys can see it's continuing this uptrend right over here. So with this uptrend intact, this also resembles like an inverse head and shoulders, but we need a break above 507 for confirmation for this to play out, for us to get a push all the way up to at least 509, if not 512. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. What I will say is this: we're still within a range on SPY. We haven't lost this key trend line yet. If we lose 502, I would turn a lot more bearish. And if we break past 505.6, look for 507. If we break that, I would turn more bullish. Breaking 507 is bullish. Losing 50 was this 504 and then 502 would be bearish. Overall, we're on an uptrend. We're still holding this range, and I could see an attempt for this to try to push a little bit higher. So overall, guys, SPY is still on an uptrend right here. The uptrend is still intact if you guys look at the chart and zoom out, but nothing is guaranteed just yet, as it's going to depend a lot on what happens with Meta's earnings and other factors like that. So if we lose this trend line or close below this, I would turn a little bit more bearish, at least technically speaking. If we close above 507, I would turn more bullish. Otherwise, we're just range bound for now on SPY, and we'll give this a little bit more time to develop. So we'll have to wait and see which way this breaks in. I think that Meta's earnings is going to be a big factor, so we'll see what that causes. We'll be very patient nonetheless. But one more point I just want to make is I forgot to mention this. We also have an inverse head and shoulders that is technically developing on SPY. If you just look at this, right, this is kind of like our left shoulder here. We have a big head right here, and this is like a right shoulder, which suggests the possibility of upside later on. But nothing's guaranteed until we get confirmation of a break above 507 on SPY. We haven't done that yet, so we're just waiting to see. The QQQ has a very similar setup. There's a slight uptrend as well. Notice that the uptrend isn't as strong in the QQQ, and we're just barely holding support at 425. It's also supported at 424 at the 50 EMA, the 422 zone, and then 420. We have resistance at 428, 430, then 433. I think that with this inverse head and shoulders being a possibility, it's going to depend a lot on what Meta ends up announcing. If Meta does very well for earnings, we could see a push for 433 on the QQQ. If Meta gets a big rug pull, yes, the QQQ could come down with it. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with their earnings. There's an uptrend that's attempting to hold up, but it's not really as strong as that of SPY. So we'll just have to see how well it holds these supports and if we end up losing them. As of right now, we're just in this range right here between 425 and 428 for almost the majority of the day. So we'll give this some time and wait and see, and then we'll wait on Meta's earnings. Meta's earnings is going to cause a big move, so I'll wait for that. For Aapl, it's showing some strength right now. We're retesting this support right here. So we're back at 168.5. Then we have 168 below that. Excuse me. And then for resistance, we have 169. If we break through this, look for 170. Not Meta, Aapl is still on an uptrend right here, building some strength, so it could push a little bit higher. But I'll give this a little bit more time as well as we're waiting for the earnings. Nvidia is looking very weak right now. We got this big rejection of 844.9 around that area. I was anticipating 846 is where we'd get the rejection off this 200 EMA. We came just short of that. And now Nvidia is continuing to sink. We're approaching this gap fill over here around 793. And then we'll have to watch and see if we can try to bounce off that. As of right now, it's a little bit more bearish, so just be careful with it. Then just for a few more, we have Coinbase was trying to break past 240 again during the pre-market and got a rejection. Now we're coming back down. And we have this imbalance all the way down here around 224 that could get filled. So there's a risk of downside on Coinbase. Meta also has a risk of downside as this is continuing to kind of downtrend a little bit. We got this big rejection. One could argue there's like an inverse head and shoulders right here. We have like a left shoulder here, a head, and a right shoulder forming, but nothing's guaranteed until we get earnings from Meta. Earnings from Meta starts after the market closes. So it could cause Meta to launch into the 520 plus area, or we could get a big rug pull and get closer to like 480 a share below that, well below that, so like 472, and the list goes on. But my point is, it's either going to make a big move to the upside or the downside. We'll just have to wait and see, and that's going to be very, very key for the markets. So get ready for Meta's earnings, guys. As far as Amazon goes, it's looking kind of weak right now below its key EMAs, but watch support around 176 and then 174.75. We're looking a little bit weak on Amazon, so it's dipping a bit, but we'll see how this is affected by Meta's earnings. So with that being said, we have big tech earnings coming out after the market closes. Get ready for them. We'll see what this causes. And as of right now, Tesla has this big range. It's very important. We'll see which way Tesla breaks. As of right now, it's kind of stuck within the range, so we'll give it some time, and then we'll see what happens after that. With that being said, I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you guys in just a couple of hours. Thank you for listening, and peace out.